Her scream never left her throat, not because fear took her voice, but because iron did. I remember the smell before I saw her, hot metal and burnt linen. The scent of silence forged by men who called it justice. They said the mask was made to correct sin. But the first time I saw it, I understood. It was made to erase a soul. Rome, 79 AD. A city of marble temples and golden lies. The streets glittered with power, and beneath their stones, secrets hissed like serpents. In the empire's laws, punishment had a gender. Men were whipped, exiled, or executed. Women were humiliated. Their bodies turned into sermons for obedience. The mask of shame, castrum silentium they called it, was the empire's quietest weapon. It began with whispers about wives who mocked their husbands, or slaves who dared to speak truth in the market. Rumors turned to accusations. Accusations became spectacle. By dawn, the forges burned hotter than the sun. The hiss of molten iron meeting water. The bite of smoke in the lungs. The sound of the river below, indifferent. Chains rattled in rhythm with the beating of hearts. And when the first mask cooled, a silence spread through the workshop, like they had forged quiet itself. No one knew who the first victim was. Her name never recorded, only her sin, indecent laughter. They paraded her through the forum, her face hidden, her sound stolen. But witnesses whispered that her eyes still smiled, as if she knew something none of them did. What could she have known? I was a scribe in the tribunal of punishment. My task record every decree, every name, every scream that could not be heard. From behind my wax tablet, I saw the governor's pride, the priest's satisfaction, and the crowd's trembling delight. To them, justice was theater. One night, I found a letter sealed with wax the color of blood. It bore no name, only the mark of Venus, goddess of love turned witness to cruelty. Inside it warned. The masks were never meant to silence voices. They were meant to silence prophecy. The next morning, the governor's wife was found wearing one of the masks. Locked from within. No key, no mark of force, no witnesses. The court called it suicide. The priests called it omen. I called it beginning. Whispers spread that the masks were crafted from cursed ore. Iron dug from a crater where lightning fell. Some said each one trapped a fragment of the first woman's scream. That the sound echoed inside forever, feeding on silence. Others swore the smiths heard voices from the metal, guiding their hammers like unseen hands. I still remember her, the third condemned. Her name was Livia, a teacher of poetry. She taught me letters when I was a boy. Now I was ordered to write her confession. She refused to speak, so they wrote it for her. Outside, children played in fountains. Vendors shouted about olives and silk, and laughter rang from taverns. Inside, we erased a woman for daring to teach poetry to daughters of soldiers. Rome called it order. I write these words not as historian, but as witness. A man whose quill dripped more tears than ink. I once believed in the empire's order. Now I see it for what it was, a cathedral of fear built upon women's silence. The night after Livia's punishment, I could not sleep. The sound of quenching metal haunted my dreams. But worse was the sound that never came, her silence. I wanted to believe she forgave me. I wanted to believe silence could forgive at all. When dawn came, I found my hands shaking too much to write. So I burned the wax tablet instead. And for the first time, I felt afraid of my own obedience. To the patricians, silence was discipline. To the plebeians, survival. To women, it was a cage gilded in law. When a man shouted in anger, it was called power. When a woman whispered truth, it was called sin. They said the empire was eternal. But I began to wonder whose eternity it was built for. The masks were crafted of bronze and iron, polished with oil and ash. Each bore carvings of vines or beasts, as if beauty could disguise cruelty. Some had spikes pressed beneath the tongue, others shaped to disfigure smiles forever. Before each punishment, priests burned myrrh to cleanse the air. But no incense could wash away the scent of shame. And when the ceremony ended, they hung each mask upon a wall, a gallery of silence gleaming in torchlight. Weeks passed, and still strange signs multiplied. The forge fires would dim when a new mask was shaped. The water in the trough turned dark as blood. And once a smith claimed he saw a reflection in it, not his own. Then the governor ordered another punishment. A woman named Orlia accused of prophecy, of speaking storms into being. But when they bound her, lightning struck the tribunal itself. After that night, even the priests grew silent. The governor spoke only in whispers, and the masks were moved to a vault beneath the Capitol. I was summoned to record them one last time. Each bore a name I recognized: Livia, Orlia, Clodia, and one mask left blank, waiting. When I asked who it was for, the guard only said, "For the one who questions too much." That same night, I saw movement near the vault. A shadow that walked without sound. It paused by the sealed door and left behind a small offering. A sprig of laurel wrapped in a woman's hair. I followed it, trembling, into the moonlit courtyard. And for a breath, I saw her, Livia. Face unmasked, lips unbroken, eyes calm as dawn. Then she vanished, leaving only the whisper, "They will make one for you too." At dawn, soldiers burst into my chamber. They accused me of destroying tribunal records. They found ashes of the wax tablets I had burned. I was dragged before the same judge, whose words I once copied. The same hammer struck the same decree. The same forge roared again. And as the blacksmith raised the mask, I saw my own reflection in its metal. Distorted, trembling, silenced before it even began. Centuries later, when Rome's ashes cooled, archaeologists unearthed the vault beneath the Capitol. Among the rust and relics, they found 6 masks, each engraved with a word that no scholar could translate. Until one day, a linguist noticed the pattern. Each word was a fragment of a sentence. "We are still speaking." I imagine Livia watching them, somewhere beyond marble and memory, smiling again with no iron to stop her. The empire forgot her name, but her silence turned into echo, and the echo became voice. Even in history's cruelty, some voices do not die, they wait. The final scroll I wrote before my capture was hidden in the wall behind the tribunal. When the archaeologists opened it centuries later, they found my confession. My name is Marcus Lucius Varro, scribe of the Castrum Silentium. And I too wore the mask, though no one saw it. The camera lingers on the parchment. Ink faded, yet legible. A man's last words, confessing his complicity and regret. Perhaps the real mask was never made of iron. Perhaps it was obedience, shaped by fear, and worn so long we forgot it was there. Every empire forges its silence. Every age invents its own mask. What would we see if history removed its own mask? Would the faces beneath still look like ours? The devices may have rusted away, but the silence they birthed still walks beside us. In boardrooms, in courts, in whispers of doubt. And maybe that is the empire's last victory. Next time we descend deeper, to the chambers beneath the Colosseum, where another invention waited, not to silence but to entertain. A machine built for blood and applause. The Roman Mind of Cruelty, Episode II. If you have walked this far through silence and iron, remember, history is not past. It is patience. It waits behind every mask, for someone willing to listen. If this story unsettled you, let it. Share it, not for shock but for remembrance, because silence is never neutral. and history never forgets those who dared to speak. Subscribe for the next descent into forgotten truth. And keep your eyes open for the masks we still wear.